All right, YouTube, we got some more cool stuff for you guys today. We have the second part in the KLX110 vlog series, and today we're going to be putting on some pretty cool parts. We got a Fast Ace inverted fork kit. This is a complete fork kit that they sell on T-Bolt USA or eBay for right around $8.99. And yeah, it comes with the inverted forks. It comes with the anodized black 14-inch front wheel. You get the full disc brake setup with the master cylinder and caliper and the axle. So you get everything you need to put this thing together, besides actually the headset bearings. So that's something you want to order separately. I guess you can use the stock stuff, but I wanted to have it all new. So anyways, but yeah, so today we're going to be pulling off the stock stuff of the bike, and then we're going to be putting on this fork kit and seeing how it looks. And yeah, so anyways, let's cut to some nice camera work, check out the parts we got going, and then let's jump to the bike. Let's get the disassembly going, and then we'll reassemble everything with this new Fast Ace inverted fork kit. Okay, here we go, guys. All right, guys, so here's that KLX110. This is where we left it off last time in the last vlog series. And that one where you just pretty much pulled off the plastics and did an inspection on the bike to see what was broken and what was needed. And in this series, what we're going to be doing today is pulling off the front end, like I said, and putting on that Fast Ace inverted fork kit that we just saw. So I'm looking, really looking forward to getting this kit on. I think it's going to be a major upgrade to this setup, which is just pretty much stock forks with upgraded springs and a billet upper triple clamp. So yeah, we're going to be pulling off all this stuff, pretty much only keeping the bars, the throttle assembly, and the hydraulic clutch assembly. Everything else goes because we have a whole new braking setup on the new front end. And yeah, this should be a pretty painless process. It should take no longer than an hour to hour and a half. And maybe one of the more difficult things for some people might be just mounting the tire on the wheel, because some people have issues with that. But these smaller bikes, it's pretty easy usually. So anyways, let's jump on into it. Here we go, guys. All right, guys, so here we go. We got the front end off. It was a pretty painless process. I would say realistically, you could do it in 2 to 5 minutes, no problem. But I had a little issue though with getting the top clamp and the headset nut off, is that this headset nut was right there and this clamp right here was like that. So I needed a specialty thin wall, a 30mm socket, and I got all that kind of stuff at the race shop, but I didn't have that here. So what I had to do is take this off, kind of had to improvise with an open end wrench, put it vertical with a crescent wrench on it. So I made it work, got this off, and then I was able to get my big, crescent wrench in there and get the nut off. So that was the only issue I had. Besides that, super easy to get this thing off, should only take a couple minutes. And yeah, so one thing I noticed is I was very happy that I ordered a new sealed headset bearing, because that one, the OEM one, is just done. All the ball bearings kind of shot. It was kind of grindy and notchy when I was feeling it before I took it off. So I knew I already knew that there was going to be an issue. And yeah, so those are all just kind of falling out already, and that's not going to work, for what I want to do. So I have an all balls sealed head bearing set, and that's going to be great. And that was recommended on T-Bolt USA to go along with the fork kit. So that's why I ordered it, and stoked on those guys for recommending that. So T-Bolt USA, good job, guys. And yeah, now it's time to put the upper and lower triple clamps on, and there it is right there. Boom. Those look great. That looks way better than stock, way more heavy duty. Oh yeah. So anyways, we're gonna throw this on. You know, first you're gonna put your bearing down there, boom, throw some grease on there, and then we'll put the bearing up top. And then one thing to notice and to mention is that when you're tightening this nut, when everything's together, don't over tighten that. You kind of want to feel this out as you get this snug, because as you know, you get that tighter, you're going to be squeezing the bearing more, and that's going to create more resistance. Now, back in the day before steering stabilizers, and even now with some track dirt bikes, the race teams have different torque specs on these nuts to have to do with resistance. So if you're doing more desert riding with a lot of whoops and straightaways, they'll actually put, you know, more torque on this to make it more resistant, to let the bars not want to go back and forth, you know, and speed wobble almost. And if you're doing really tight track stuff, they'll have it looser. So, but now it's steering stabilizers and adjustability of those, that doesn't really, you know, come into play anymore. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that when you put this together, don't over tighten that. You don't want to damage your new bearing. So just, you know, tighten it a bit, get it snug, feel it out, and then get it to a happy spot, and you'll be good to go. So anyways, we're gonna clean this up, throw some grease on the new stuff, put everything back together, and we should be good to go. All right, guys, here we go. Okay guys, so we just tapped out the OEM headset races for the headset bearing. And what the race is obviously, it's right here. It's the part that goes in there, and then the bearing sits on into this surface is what it is. So anyways, I just tapped these out. I used a T-wrench. You know, I went up from the bottom for this top piece, and what you want to do is you want to tap 4 corners because you want this to come out evenly. If you just hit one side, it's going to want to come out crooked, and that's going to damage this inner surface, and you're not going to be able to get it out. So just try to get it out as evenly as possible. And ultimately, they have tools for this, bearing, you know, race removal and installation tools. But for the sake of doing this in the garage, we're just doing this with standard tools that you guys have, and that's not an issue at all. You could do it the right way. You just got to be careful. So remember, hit this out as evenly as possible, and you're not going to damage the surface. So there's the OEM headset bearing race, and as you could tell, it's kind of a more basic system. It uses the ball bearings with grease, and that's why everything fell out. So over here on my table, we have the all balls set that T-Bolt USA recommended. And yeah, this looks like a much better system. We have new races and seals, and here's our bearings. We have needle, or actually roller bearings in there, and they're not gonna fall out. And that is definitely more heavy duty. So anyways, when I took this thing apart, I noticed that there were different part numbers on these. So on initial inspection, I go, why are there different part numbers? And I pulled out my micrometer and I measured the outside diameter of this. And you don't need to do this, but I was just being careful. And I go, okay, those are the same right there. So obviously it's not the outside diameter of the head tube, it must be the inner diameter. And as you can see, that is definitely larger than that. And this seal is larger than that seal in the inner diameter. So that goes there and that goes there. There is no instructions to say that. It's just that this had a different part number than this seal, and this bearing had a different part number than that bearing. So the reason is because the new triple clamp has a larger outside diameter on this tube than up here. So obviously the larger bearing is going to go on the bottom, and the smaller bearing, or smaller inner diameter of the bearing, is going to go on top. Now you would have figured that out the hard way if you try to put it together and force it. Probably would have damaged the surface of this, but you wouldn't have been able to get that smaller bearing to fit down there. So anyways, I just wanted to touch on that whenever you're putting new parts in, and you have multiple pieces, look at the part numbers and see what the deal is, because obviously with different part numbers, we have different locations it goes. So anyways, we're gonna put this stuff back in. We're gonna do the reverse process what we did. So we're gonna grab the race, we're gonna put some grease on the outside of the race, and we're gonna put some grease on the inner part of the headset tube, and we're gonna go like that, and we're gonna tap this in. Now ultimately, like I said, they have tools for this, which is kind of like a threaded, all thread they call it, with like a washer and a nut, and it would pull this in evenly, like a press almost. But for the sake of what we got going in the garage, I'm just gonna use a hammer, and you don't wanna put metal against metal ever, because that could damage the surface. Really, you want a mallet, a large mallet, but I don't have one here. So I'm just gonna put a piece of cardboard, and I'm gonna tap, boom, 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 on 4 corners, and you're gonna have to do that multiple times to get this to go in. And you want it to go in as evenly as possible until it hits this surface right there, which is where it's going to bottom out, and you'll hear the sound change once it hits that, and then you know you're good to go. But you definitely want it to hit that surface, and once you do that on the top and the bottom, throw a little grease on the inside of this race, put your bearings in, put your seals on, and then put your triple clamps on, and you're good to go. So here we go, guys. All right, guys, so we have that Fast Ace inverted fork kit all installed on the KLX110. It's ready to rock and roll. And overall, my impressions on the kit now are that it's a very nice kit. Installation was very painless besides the one issue I had with the steering stem tube being not machined properly. But with Chinese parts, that's something you sometimes run into because their machining specs and tolerances are not usually up to spec with, let's say, Japanese, Italian, or American-made parts. So what I had to do is get a piece of sandpaper and sand the tube for a bit, then get a red Scotch-Brite pad and then follow it up with that. And about 45 minutes to an hour later, I was able to get it to spec on my micrometer. So that could be a pain, and that was almost something I was going to call the manufacturer and ask about, but I was able to get it all handled and everything's bolted up and it's done right. So anyways, the kit's gorgeous. It looks great. Definitely is going to add a lot of, more heavy dutiness to the bike and performance to it. And it's on the bike right behind me. So let's check it out. All right, so there it is. Fast Ace inverted fork kit. Looking good. So there we go. We have our black wheel that has some larger, more heavy duty spokes. We've got the big disc brake with our caliper. And yeah, it comes with some nice fork guards. You get your decals with it. And here is our hydraulic master cylinder. Looking good. And yeah, look at that. Upper triple clamps, lower triple clamps, they look great. These bar mounts right here, it's pretty cool. They're adjustable, so you can throw it from back to front. I'm gonna probably throw it a little bit more forward because I'm 6'2". The triple clamps look very heavy duty. They look very nice. And yeah, definitely a gorgeous kit. For the price, you can't go wrong, right under $1,000. You'd be paying about $1,300 just for Marzocchis, and that's not even with triple clamps or a wheel or anything else. So this is definitely the way to go. This is a high-end bargain kit, and you can get Chinese forks on eBay as cheap as $190 with triple clamp. So these are definitely top of the food chain when it comes to Chinese forks. So anyways, they're your clickers. The compression clickers came all the way clicked in at 17 clicks. I put it to 8. And I jumped up and down on it. I'm 180 pounds, and even though it's missing probably about 20 pounds of parts, it only went about 65% of the way through the stroke. So I'm pretty happy on that spring rate. I think this is gonna be fine for me. It comes with a 5-weight stock oil in it. So I might go to a 10-weight fork oil just to help out a little bit when I'm hitting some big stuff. But besides that, I think we're gonna be good to go. But people have cut down KX65 springs or have custom springs made to either, make it a softer or a more, stiff ride. And also they sell, seal kits for this. So if your seals do ever go out, you could replace that. And there's videos online about how to do that. So anyways, definitely a really cool kit. Very stoked on it overall. And I'm happy to get these things broken in and feel them out on some big jumps. So anyways, guys, that's that. The next vlog will be working back here, changing out this OEM swing arm to a BBR super stock 2-inch extended swing arm, and then I'll be putting on a Fast Ace 270 millimeter extended reservoir shock. So that's for the next one. So anyways, stay tuned, guys, and you'll be seeing that next vlog coming up here pretty soon.